the worst at this, aren't I?
You got this. No, you got this.
I'm not.
Or you don't.
Also was listening to myself at the last meeting.
Oh.
I can't hear me.
No, sometimes you're a little far from there.
I think I have to
Yeah.
speak into
Yeah.
it.
Jacob, what'd you study at University of Wyoming? Oh, fun. Do you get to use it in, I don't know what you do. My condolences. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Like right now, what am I doing for money? Oh, to like raise my kids. It's always a tricky question for the females, I think, you know, with balancing family and work. Yeah. Oh, I should say next, my husband's an engineer, and so there's a lot of engineer jokes. Are you ready for this one we had this morning? It's not really a joke, it's a pun.
Pun?
Like puns? I didn't know if they taught that in engineering. If they taught puns in engineering. Well, all of the engineering friends are really good puns. Yeah. Do you think glass coffins are gonna make it? Like, open and running? I know, it's weird, it's a weird one.
All right. Am I waiting for? I am.
It remains to be seen.
He might have thought it was 7.
No, well, I hope everyone read my reminder yesterday.
And the reminder the
Yeah,
day
there
before
were a
that.
couple of them, Jane, it's good.
Reading my reminder?
Patience. Thank you. Of course, Andy Jordan's not here, huh?
No, he decided to hang out at home. And
Seeing how he's on agenda item 8. Yeah.
Any recommendation? He voted for himself on chair and vice chair.
It's a little different though.
President voted for himself.
Or just recuse.
He wasn't comfortable doing it. That's understood.
For those waiting and tuning in, we're awaiting one more commissioner to show up. We're waiting for one more commissioner to show up. Well, when the guy tells me he can't hear me, I got a problem, don't I?
No, I think it works on both ends, so.
Did,
Different than when we interviewed.
yeah.
Everything shows and stuff, you can still sit, right?
Yeah, and take the bid.
Yeah, I'm gonna give till
Give 'em one more minute and then.
05.
6:05.
Yeah, I'll give him 2 minutes.
Here he comes.
Run, Forrest. Ready? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the November 19th, 2025 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The first matter to address is roll call.
Chair Height,
Is present.
Commissioner Lang,
Here.
Commissioner Boone,
Here.
Vice Chair Poland,
Here.
Commissioner Saunders,
Here.
Commissioner Wang,
Here.
Commissioner Arment.
Here.
Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Next, we have a city land acknowledgement that I want to read into the record. That the city and people of Longmont acknowledge that the city of Longmont sits on the traditional territories of the nations of the Cheyenne, the Arapaho, and Ute, and other indigenous peoples. We endeavor to honor the history and the living and spiritual connection of these first peoples with this land. We commit to face the injustices that happened when these lands were taken and to educate our communities, ourselves, and our children to ensure that these injustices never happen again. Next item is communications. Are there any initial communications from?
Nothing additional other than to say, good to see you all this November, and we'll probably won't see you until December, but hope everybody has a great holiday.
Thank you very much. The next item is public comment on items that are not before the commission on tonight's agenda. I have a sign-up sheet that lists two individuals, Tom Smith and Shaquille Dalal. Would you like to come speak for 5 minutes? Sure. Mr. Smith was first to sign up. And again, it's to address issues not on our agenda tonight. Thank you.
Good
Please state
evening. I'm Tom Smith. I live at 1049 Champion Circle. My original intent had been to talk about your agenda item 7A, but my interpretation and application of what I'll say really applies to all of those types of things that might happen in the planning, development, maybe annexation process. My critique of the original agenda, that it listed several terms that are not defined, they're not discoverable on a city website or through the Muni codes. It's not clear to what extent or scope the authority is granted for the, I think it was referred to as administrative modifications or something, and those things concern me. I've spent the last almost 3 years bothering this gentleman and his predecessor and a few other individuals. I got assigned by our HOA to be the bird dog on the development plan next door to us. And that's led to a learning curve that looks more like running into a wall for me. And I guess I'd focus on just a couple of things that I'd ask you as you reconsider that other one in the future, as well as other things come before you, that the focus gets put to the process and the system, not the people. I could probably whine and complain somewhere to somebody about an individual in the city, but the process by which all of this takes place has enough ambiguity and enough unseen hazards that it needs some help. And I don't know if that should come by way of an oversight, such as maybe the Senate or Congress has oversight committees, but in our case, our original live stream was not properly scheduled with time and place and advance notice. The different meetings that I have participated in, seems to be a bit of lack of citizen input. And that's because you got to get off your butt and participate in those things. That's up to those individuals. So the ambiguity issues that I would point to, and I'll step away, and I've been here before, and I think it's probably April 19 of 2023, possibly, could have been 2024, where myself and two other neighbors came to discuss some of the ongoing things. All I'll do tonight is share, and I'll leave copies with Jane, about the ambiguity that has impacted us, and it grew out of the connection to having a development come to us. And one is pretty much wild and unrestricted tree growth and land use. We're right on the edge of the city limits, and the city code regarding dead, diseased, and dying trees didn't get enforced. And the fire department overlooked or looked the other way. Tree guys not as bad as the fire department looked the other way about fire hazards. One word I'd use to remind you of some of those risks, or one term, would be marshal fire. And the ground cover on this property is enormous. It has been, it was, and those things were not cited. Now, the tree situation, that's another thing. Some have been trimmed in the last year or so, but you'll see here in the pictures, photographs I've given you, what was interesting is after the citation on the dying trees was lifted mysteriously by the city, about 3 weeks later, a cottonwood stump about 25 feet high fell through a fence and narrowly missed one of the homes in our subdivision. And those things are all covered in city code. And the other thing I have for you is part of the presentation I did a couple of years ago about the interpretations on zoning. And I would add to that, never have heard a response from anybody in the city on those points. So I'll conclude with that, but as you draft and do these other things in the future, keep them simple, stupid, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Dalal? Thank you.
Shaquille Dalal, 219 Francis Street. I'm here to object to the removal of item 7A from the agenda, and also ask the commission to pass a resolution asking city council to review some things. Process costs drive housing costs. Professor Nick Bagley at the University of Michigan studies American government and has described the ways in which American government has what he calls a process fetish. This is the idea that we add complexity to processes in order to enact policy instead of changing process incentives to drive the outcomes that we find socially desirable or whatever it is that the government wants to do. This is important because compliance costs time, which then costs money. And when we add complexity to a process, it makes that process more expensive, and that can affect the cost of things that have to go through that process. Housing, as you know, is expensive, and we have a shortage of housing in the city of Longmont. In order to address that shortage, we need to add supply to the city. We need to make it easier to add more and different types of housing to the city. And in order for people to add supply, they have to go through this process. And so I think it's important for us to understand the ways in which the review process that we have for developments in the city impacts the cost. I object to the removal of item 7A from the agenda because I do not believe that this meeting should have ever been convened. You are going to approve this development, in my opinion, because staff has requested the changes that the applicant has made, and to not approve it would be to undermine the authority of staff, which is bad for the city, bad for planning and zoning, bad for, developers ever listening to staff, because if planning and zoning is just going to overrule what staff says, then the developers have no trust in our process and they can't add supply to our community. The removal of it from the agenda for the process technicality of the posting of as I understand it, we posted it as a public hearing as opposed to an administrative. It was basically the title on the poster board at the development, is my understanding, for the reason why it was removed from the agenda. And I don't think that that is a sufficient substantive process reason. And instead, if this had been administratively approved as it should have been, it would have lowered the cost of housing. 2 meetings cost money, right? The developer had to prepare for this meeting. His staff had to prepare for this meeting. When this meeting gets rescheduled, they will have to do that again. That is going to directly add to the cost of this development and therefore increase the cost of housing in our community. Furthermore, staff prepared for this meeting twice. Staff is here right now. We as taxpayers are paying staff salary to be here. They will have to be here again because there's a second meeting. That is a cost that is added to this process that we pay as a society. So I'm asking you to pass a resolution to ask City Council to ask staff. There's a lot of asks in there, but I promise it makes sense, I think. Yeah, it probably makes sense. To study how process costs directly add to the cost of housing in our community and how much money taxpayers spend enforcing the city code, again, driven by complexity. I also think that resolution would make sense to study how the impact of city process impacts the ability of us to achieve our goal of 12% permanently affordable housing in the city, and how it impacts the loss of economic diversity and declining enrollment in the St. Vrain Valley School District. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience who'd care to speak on matters not on our agenda? See none, I'll move on to approval of the minutes of the October 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Assuming everyone has read them, are there any comments? Are there any corrections? Are there any motions to approve? I will recognize Vice Chair Poland.
I motion that we approve the minutes of the October 22nd, 2025 meeting.
Is there a second? I will second. We will vote.
Commissioner Lang,
Aye.
Commissioner Boone, Vice Chair Poland,
Aye.
Chair Height,
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders,
Abstain.
Commissioner Wang, Commissioner Armet. Chair, that passes 6 approvals, one abstention.
Thank you very much. Now we move to the public hearing portion of our agenda. Item 7A, which is Mr. Delisle has already indicated, has a notice issue, as I understand it. I don't know if Nathan Jones is prepared to address that, or if Director Poland is. Penland, not Poland. You are Poland. He is
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Nathan Jones, one of the principal planners with the Planning and Development Services Department. So it came to light this morning that incorrect notice was posted on site. The applicant posted a development under review sign rather than the standard notice of public hearing sign that is typical to be posted on site. The Land Development Code does require that notices for neighborhood meetings, developments under review, and the public hearing be posted on site. So we found out this morning that incorrect notice was actually posted. So therefore, I think we would recommend. So first off, I guess I should take a step back and state that it's my understanding that the Planning Commission should make a finding that adequate notice was not provided, and I think we would recommend that you postpone this item to a future date. Given the schedule for the next couple of months, we would also recommend that you consider a special meeting on December 10th. That would allow the applicant to renotice for the public hearing, provide proper notice in conformance with the Land Development Code. It will also allow us to be able to move this forward. We do have another item that we have tentatively scheduled for the December 17th meeting, which is your next regularly scheduled meeting date. The next meeting date after that is December 24th, which is an option if you would like to use December 24th as your next public hearing. But we would recommend instead that you hold a special meeting on December 10th and postpone this item to that date. I believe I captured everything. If not, Jeremy, please jump in. Thank you.
Assistant Attorney Terrell, is there more you want to add? No. I have a question, which is to confirm the notice of development review. Obviously, it's not a notice of a public hearing. A notice of a public hearing, to my understanding, is required to be posted 14 days in advance of the hearing.
Correct.
that identifies when and where the hearing takes place?
Yes.
There's no such notice of when and where hearings take place on a notice of developmental or of project under review?
Correct. We have 3 standard signs that we typically send out, as I mentioned. We have a development under review sign that indicates the project ID number, the name of the project, and the staff planner. So that basically gives information to the community about what project is proposed in that area, and then how to contact city staff to ask more questions about it. It does not have any information about the public hearing. We do have a separate sign template for the public hearing sign. In that case, it does have a lot of the same information, but it indicates the meeting time and location.
And so part of our process, which is due process, which is to make sure that people who are interested in wanting to attend a hearing or participate in a hearing or make statements at a hearing, that notice was not properly given pursuant to our code.
Correct. That's what we believe.
And our code also says that in the absence of such a notice, we can't have the hearing.
Correct.
So we can't have the hearing.
Correct.
So we're not having a hearing on 7A.
We,
The
yes.
second part of your, I guess, query is to whether or not the commission is amenable to rescheduling to December 12th.
10th.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
December 10th. Versus the 17th, which is already has an agenda item, versus the 24th. I personally cannot participate on the 24th. I don't know anybody else wants to participate on the 24th. But the 10th, can we put that in advance, or do we need to make a decision on that now? Now? I guess technically, Jane, can you make that happen? Have this space available? Okay. I think I'll recognize those who might have some input. Commissioner Wang? Maybe I
Is
didn't
it
want-
live?
Yep.
Is that,
Yep, you're good.
okay. I have a question for Director Penland, I guess. It says that the requested modifications were eligible for administrative approval. Is there a way for you, do we still need to have a meeting even if it's eligible for administrative approval?
If I can jump in to answer that, well, not answer that question, but give you a different option to consider, Commissioner Wang. Under our code, under subsection J8 of 150204, if adequacy of the notice is questioned, you have to consider whether or not notice was properly given before you can proceed with any questioning.
Okay.
So I'd ask that you defer that. Well, I guess I should say the commission should first make a determination whether or not there was actual notice. There's been a question raised before we talk about the hearing date or when it may be continued. I'd recommend the commission consider a motion on whether or not they determined substantial compliance with notice. Assuming the commission determines not, then I would consider the hearing date issue and when to push it. So,
Thank you for that. I can't just make that determination by fiat by myself.
not yet.
So let me then move for a vote on a determination or a vote to confirm or conclude that adequate notice was not given with respect to the posting of the hearing for tonight's meeting. That's a motion. I will recognize Commissioner Saunders.
I second Chair's motion.
Any further comment?
Yes.
Hold on one second. Vice Chair Poland.
Jeremy, so in the packet, there's just a little blurb about neighborhood input notifications and sign postings. It says the notice type, which is neighborhood meeting, application and review, public hearing. There were no mailings for this needed, just to confirm?
There were mailings needed for this, sorry to jump in, but there were mailings that were required. As part of our standard process, we request affidavits to certify that mailings and posted notice, the sign was actually posted on site. We did receive those affidavits. to state that the that the letters were sent out and that the sign was posted. It was again that we realized today that it was the wrong sign that was posted.
Okay. Can I ask that in the future, because I know in our past packets, we have had notifications and there's been one of the attachments has been about the notifications. Can we have that in the next packet, please?
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment on the motion? Seeing none, shall we vote?
Commissioner Lang,
What are we voting for? Yeah.
The motion to determine that, the motion that I proposed, which was to conclude that adequate notice was not given because of the failure to post the appropriate sign notifying the public of the hearing tonight.
I get it.
Aye is my vote.
Commissioner Boone. Vice Chair Poland,
Aye.
Chair Height.
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders.
I
Commissioner Wang.
Aye.
Commissioner Arment.
Aye.
Chair, that passes unanimously 7-0.
Thank you, and thank you for clarifying that issue. I'm going to go back to, I guess, Vice Chair Poland.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we move this agenda item to a December 10th meeting at 6 p.m.
If I can just interrupt for one
Is that date certain?
So Vice Chair Poland, I recommend that you make a motion that we hold a special meeting on December 10th and then continue the item. So just
Okay.
flip the order if you
Do we
want.
have to do two motions?
You can do one.
Okay. I move that we have a special meeting for December 10th and that at that meeting, we move this item to that meeting.
I would second. Sorry. I seconded. Hold on. Yeah, Commissioner Wang.
Yeah, so for, I guess this would be when I ask my question since we're discussing this. Since this could be approved by administrative approval, like, is there a reason why we need to have another meeting?
Well, my understanding is it's a major development approval. It's an approval of a preliminary plat, which requires a public hearing.
Okay, so the plat needs approval, but not the modifications.
The modifications are being referred to us by Director Penland,
Okay,
which is his option prerogative to
Okay.
do so pursuant to code.
okay, got it.
Is that correct, Assistant Attorney Terrell? Thank you. Okay. Any more comment on the motion that's been seconded to move to the 10th? Seeing none, let's vote.
Commissioner Lang.
Aye.
Commissioner Boone. Vice Chair Poland,
Aye.
Chair Height.
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders.
I
Commissioner Wang.
Aye.
Commissioner Arment.
Aye.
Chair, that passes unanimously 7-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Public showed up for tonight's hearing on agenda item 7A, and the applicant. We'll see you in 3 weeks. If the right sign's posted. Okay, moving on to agenda item 8, which is other business, which is to select our successors as additional commissioners. It's my appreciation that Vice Chair Poland and Commissioner Wang met with 8 or 9 applicants.
6.
6.
2 withdrew.
Oh, 2 did withdraw, so 8 was the right number once upon a time. In any event, and they have made recommendations, and I'll turn the floor over to one or both of them. Chair Poland first to discuss their findings.
Thank you. We actually had a very well, and I'd say balanced group of 6 applicants. As you can tell by my scoring, that they were grouped relatively closely. To me, Andrew Jordan, who has served this past year as an alternate, has done a very fine job as an alternate. He understands the concept of being on the Planning and Zoning Commission, of being able to be impartial and make his judgments. And I feel that also with his temperament and personality, he fits in well with the board. And that's why he was one of my first recommendations. The second one, and I just want to make note, with Devin Edgley Wells, the last question we asked, which was, why are you applying for the Planning and Zoning Commission? It's kind of a follow-up to what they put in their application, because that question's kind of asked, but I'd like to hear it personally. And then Commissioner Wayne had a follow-up question, what were they hoping to get by serving on the commission? And one of the last things she actually said is, she realized that being on the commission is not about setting the policy, that it's about using the policy to enact what comes before the commission, which to me shows that she got it, that we're not here to necessarily make the policy, but we're here to use the policy to come to our decisions. And that's what kind of put her just that little step above. And then the third one, and as you can tell by my scoring, they were really close, but I thought that Ryan did a good job. There are some things like, I think he would be well to be an alternate and use the year to experience the commission and learn a bit more. Because I think, as our alternates have learned, that coming on the commission is a learning experience. And being in that first year, you do learn a lot from being on the alternates for a few of the meetings. So that was the way I scored. But I do want to make note, it was really close. For me, it was a really close decision between everybody. And I do appreciate everybody that did apply.
Fair enough. Thank you. Commissioner Wang, do you want to add more?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, surprisingly, Commissioner Poland and I came with the same exact ranking, so that just, says how in sync we were in trying to figure out who to place on the open positions. And I also want to say to the folks who didn't make it this time, like, please try again, because you were really, really close. So keep on trying, please. Thanks.
Okay. To round out specifically what we are doing in actuality, there's one full regular term up that that we're seeking to fill, and that term would expire in December 31st of 2030. I think that's my seat. There's one unexpired regular term, I believe, of Matthew Popkins, who's now a city council member. His unexpired term, which we're replacing or we're filling, would expire December 31st, 2027. And then there's one unexpired alternate term, assuming that we advance Andy Jordan to a full seat. His alternate chair becomes open, and that would expire January 31st, 2026. So the recommendation is Andrew Jordan for the full term, Ms. Edgley Wells for the remainder of the unexpired regular term, or to fill to complete the unexpired regular term of Councilmember Popkin, and then Mr. Forbes to fulfill Andy's position, correct?
Correct.
Shall we have a motion and a vote on that? And again, this is a recommendation to City Council, correct? Which is advanced by Director Penland? Okay. Anybody want to make a motion? I see three, I'm sorry. It would be Commissioner Boone.
I have a question before we make a motion.
Sure.
So does the city council interview all the candidates again?
Sorry.
It is my understanding that some, but maybe not all of the candidates will be interviewed again. That's up to the city council, I think, to decide which members my understanding is last year some were and some were not. That's my understanding.
Good enough. Either you want to make a motion? Vice Chair Poland.
I move forward to the city council, the recommendation that Andrew Jordan to fill the one regular member term ending December 31st, 2030, Devin Edgley Wells to fill the one unexpired regular member term expiring December 31st, 2027, and therefore Ryan Forbes to fill the one expired unexpired alternate member term expiring December 31st, 2026, if Andrew Jordan is given one of the two openings.
I second the motion.
Fantastic. Any further comment? Shall we vote?
Commissioner Lang.
Aye.
Commissioner Boone.
Aye.
Vice Chair Poland.
Aye.
Chair Height.
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders.
Aye.
Commissioner Wang. Commissioner Armet.
Aye.
Chair, that passes unanimously 7-0.
Thank you for your hard work. Congratulations, new commissioners. Grant, you'll take it on. Moving on to final call of public comment. Anyone want to talk? Seeing none, we'll move on to whether or not there's items from the commission. Anybody have anything they need to share, want to share, have to share? Come on, share. Our council representative is not present. Are there any items from the planning director?
Just briefly, Chair and members of the commission, as already alluded to, we do have one item, which is an annexation that we tentatively have scheduled for the December 17th meeting, and we would make a recommendation for an early start on that meeting, just based upon the anticipated participation and interest. So recommending a 6 p.m. start for that, if commission so is inclined.
Vice Chair Poe?
I move that we go ahead and make a motion that we move the starting time of the December 17th meeting to 6 p.m. And also, if it wasn't noted, I think I did note it, but to make sure that the December 10th meeting is also noted for 6 p.m.
That was in your original motion. I will second this motion. Shall we vote?
Commissioner Lang.
Aye.
Commissioner Boone. Vice Chair Poland.
Aye.
Chair Height.
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders.
Aye.
Commissioner Wang. Commissioner Armet.
Aye.
Chair, that passes unanimously 7-0.
Busy December. All right. We good? Gavel closed. Thank you all. 35 minutes. What would have been 4+ hours. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chair.
Till you can't hear me.
No, you did great. I'm not good. It's good practice. It's too bad that it happened.